Fellow traders, tis I, the Rumpled One, coming to you on Wednesday, July the 8th, the year's 2026. Let's talk trading. Grade your trades with Walmal. These videos are for educational purposes only. Your results may differ from mine and differ from Walmal's. Also, always have your risk management in place so you don't lose more than you're willing to lose while you are trading. You know, Walmart, we were talking about this yesterday about grading your trades because I had mentioned there's this guy in this other video was talking about A trades and B trades. And then we said, you know, we might even be able to have an indicator that would grade your trades. And then as I've been thinking about it, um, the other thing is that you need to grade your trade before you get into it. In other words, this is a trade, and then you need to grade your trade after you're out of it because um, one, you have to grade your exit, but two, you're going to see things in hindsight possibly that you didn't see. So that A trade might become a B trade, or that B trade might become an A trade. What do you think?
Yeah, I kind of like that because it's sort of like this whole idea of analyzing what you did, going back and looking at what you did, because it's two reasons. The first reason, most obvious reason, is did I get into that trade? I thought it was an A trade. I went and put the risk on based on being an A trade, and reality is I missed some things, or I went in too early, or I went in too late, and made mistakes. So yes, on paper it's an A trade, but by execution, it'd be a D trade. And so you need to go and I like the idea of grading it at the end as well, because while you're not in the picture battle, you know, making a decision, hey, was this really a good A trade or not? And the purpose of that is very simply just this, so you can become better. That's that's the whole thing there. So you can become better, and you can go and say, is there a way I can do this quicker? Is there a way I can go and make a decision, an accurate decision, quicker, so that I can go and take trades properly or not take the trades properly? I mean, there are times when just I've jumped into a trade and said, man, this is a good trade. It's going to be a good trade. And I jumped into it. So, I may not have been using a scale of A through D, but, but at the same time, it's the type of thing where, in my mind I just didn't have a scaling out there. And then when I got into the trade and I take a loss on it and I get out, and then I go back and look at it, grade myself on it. It's like, you dummy, you went in this because of emotion. You went in this because of fear of missing out. You went into it, for a whole host of reasons, and you went and you trashed your entire trading plan. So I think you need to do both. You need to go and grade those trades on the way in and grade the trades on the way out. And it's much easier to grade it more objectively on the way out, because not just because you saw what it actually did, but more if you now got the time to sit there and think through everything. Did I go and miss this? Did I miss that? What could I do so I don't miss those things in the future? And that's just my 2 cents on that whole thought process.
You know, as you spoke, I think there might be four grades. Number one, you grade the setup. Is this a setup, B setup? Then two, you grade your execution. Did I, was I in at the right time? Was I late? Did I FOMO? Did I airball? And then three, you grade your exit. Was I being greedy? Did I exit at the proper time? Um, and I'm really thinking that there might even be a way to put some, I guess, put it to a logical objective versus subjective.
Yeah,
Maybe writing
put an
some,
out,
yeah,
write an algorithm around it of that, of course, we talked about this many times. The advantage of doing that, of course, is that now all of a sudden it's an algorithm, and the algorithm is going to be could be either red, green, or gray. That's just the reality. That's all it can be.
Right.
Whereas when we put our emotion in things, we can turn reds into greens, and greens into reds, and everything in between.
Yeah, because it's like today, I mean that one trade I got in, I got out, and I jumped back in and I said that was a revenge trade. It's just like
Yeah,
right now, I am so wanting the short, so wanting the short.
and there's lots of reasons to want to short, but but are you getting a proper signal yet or not? That's really the thing. And so the problem is that you know with some of the geopolitical things that have happened overnight, you know what's going to happen here. The last time we had this geopolitical situation kick off, what happened was that the dollar got very, very strong comparatively speaking. It got very, very strong, and the pound dollar started going down, because people were moving money towards the U.S. dollar. Is that going to happen again this time, or is it going to go the other way, where the pound is going to get stronger and the dollar is going to get weaker? I don't know. All I know is that there's a geopolitical thing sitting on the table that's going to potentially move the market.
Yeah,
So that
but I don't know if we can grade based on
no, I don't think you
yeah.
can. I don't think you can. It's just that but what we can do is know that what's more than likely going to happen is this is going to be a catalyst to go and cause the market to move, not necessarily which way it's going to move, or how good a trade it could possibly be or not be. It's just that it's sort of like when that right before NFT goes and drops, there's more than likely, we've been wrong a couple times, but more than likely there is going to be a movement in the market. And historically, that's been the case. And when you have a big geopolitical thing happening in the world, if you just look out throughout history, there's been big movements in the market because of it. People get afraid, people get excited, and do things that they normally wouldn't do, which would cause the market to move. So now you got to go. Okay, now we know. Okay, there's probably going to be a movement in the market. Now we have to go back and start looking at the charts, looking at the charts from the perspective of, okay, which way is it more likely to move? Not which way is it going to move. And the better way of looking at it is which way is it more likely to move, because anything can happen.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but I'm thinking in terms of, grading a trade. I'm thinking one of the things you could put is did I check all the boxes? And maybe, looking at the news or taking, some fundamentals into consideration, if that's part of your trading plan, it's like, did you really tick all the boxes?
Right, right. It's sort of like that video that we watched. Unfortunately, I can't remember who it was by, but
The grading your
let's see.
trades?
Yeah,
I think that was
but
SMB Capital.
okay, because I had ChatGPT go through that and through his channel and come up with a grading chart that goes what he uses for weighting things in it. So trend alignment was like 20%. Location, in other words, support, resistance, supply, demand, 20%. Entry was 20. An entry trigger was 20%. Risk reward was 15. Higher time frame agreement was 10. News and session conditions was 10. Psychology discipline was 5. That's how he came up with 100. And then based on that, he graded himself an A from 90 to 100, a B from 80 to 89, C 70 to 79, and then D was below 70. That's how he did it. We would probably do it different than that, but I think that's a good framework to start at.
Right.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing. So, different things are going to go and do it. And for instance, like trend alignment, that's part of our methodology. Are we above indicator 2 or not?
Right.
And that makes it. Are we? Where's our location on the chart? In other words, are we going up and we're bouncing off the support, or are we, or are we bouncing off resistance and we're looking to take a short at that point in time? How much are you willing to? And then, how much are you willing? Because my guess is he's kind of similar to like the ICT guys, where it's type of thing where they're only looking to get 2-to-1, 3-to-1, 4-to-1 type of risk reward. Actually, reward risk. I don't know why we do it that way, but we have it backwards. But in any case, that's 15%. In other words, that's a weighting on that. And, how much we're willing to go willing to risk on the trade. If we're getting it, and what I mean by that is if it looks out, for his methodology, right? If he's only going to do a 1-to-1, he's probably only going to get up to 10 points you could get. You might only get 2 or 3. But if you're going to get that thing where you can have, five points of reward to 1 point of risk, he's going to say, "Oh, that's a really good one. So I'm going to give you all 10." And those are different things or different types of things that we could be looking at in terms of laying out an algorithm to figure these things out for us on the fly. Maybe even create a little bit of a bar graph. That goes that goes and shows you that, so you can see where all the different levels are. So that you can, oh, look at this. Okay, I got of these things. I've got, let's say we came up with 5 different things. 4 of them in the green, and 1 is red. It's like, okay, that's probably a pretty good trade. That's probably a B trade, as opposed to all of them in green, and you got an A trade.
Yeah, and the other thing is we remember years ago I wrote the do not trade indicator, where it was like, okay, here's all the reasons not to buy, here's all the reasons not to sell,
Right.
or short. I think maybe I might have to incorporate that too. But it's one of those things where you can only, look at so many things if you're trading real time, as opposed to, if you have something automated or some indicator gauge or whatever that does all those computations for you, and then it just tells you to buy, sell, or wait.
Right. Oh, I agree.
And then and that indicator would only give you the A trades, like that. What was the one I called what was the FOREX? Oh, I've written so many indicators this year. I forgot what I even called that one now. But it remember how it has structure and pattern and higher time frame alignment, blah blah blah. And then the last thing was the signal, and then I just wound up taking all of that, turning it into a multimeter, and go, hey, here's the signal for each time frame.
Right. And the thing is, you can even go and take it to the next level with that thing. Like with his thing is being, do you have alignment between the higher time frames?
Right.
So in other words, you can even distill it down even further.
Exactly. And you know what, Walmal? Fast in
We're at
15
time.
minutes of trading's just about over. Oh, this is I think we're gonna have to do a part 2 on this one. Maybe we can put our heads together and we maybe start to fool around with some coding up an indicator. So, fellow traders, that just goes to show. Um, there's more than one way to skin a cat. So it's not what you trade, it's how you trade it. So go out there and drain the banks. This is the Rumpled One, over and out.